All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, there's a big fight going at Bellator 235. It's happening December 20th, a featherweight tilt between Braydon Akeo and Tywan Claxton, and I have Tywan on the show. How's it going there, man?
Going good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm just curious as to what your thoughts on your opponent heading into this fight is. Have you gotten a chance to check out any level of tape on your opponent? Is that something you kind of allocate to like some of your trainers and stuff like that?
You know what? It's something that I have done this camp. I usually don't watch film on my opponents, but I started to watch film in general, and I've watched every fight that he has available, and I've watched, I watched him multiple times. So yeah, I've watched film on this guy.
So, what's your assessment of his skill set overall then?
I think he's a grappler. Um, I think that he relies heavily on his wrestling. I think that if I had to try to analyze his striking style, he will be. I think that he tries to imitate Max Holloway as a striker, just from the standpoint of how he moves. But I've seen film, and there's levels to the game, and I don't think he's on my level.
I mean, you talk about like trying certain things out for the first time, like you're talking about watching tape in a way of switching it up. But I also noticed you tweeted out that you did your first yoga session recently. How was that?
That was pretty slick, actually, man. Let me tell you, there are a lot of beautiful women in yoga, and that's one reason to go. But flexibility is key. You know, I learned that in the Sanchez fight. His flexibility got him out of a lot of bad situations on that ground. And so it's something that I added to my routine, just stretching in general. And I decided to take it a step further and start doing yoga. So, you know, that was a cool experience, man. I think I would rather go to a yoga class and stretch by myself in my living room any day of the week.
Yeah, you mentioned that being one thing you changed on the heels of the Sanchez fight there, but I'm wondering like what other adjustments you might have made after that, because obviously prior to that fight you were undefeated in your pro run, so I'm kind of wondering if there's like unique lessons you take from a loss as opposed to a victory.
Yeah, I mean, I have a head coach now. I'm not my own head coach anymore. I promoted my striking coach to my head coach. And I brought in two other coaches. My old high school wrestling coaches who were notorious for breaking me. And making sure, like, our team's motto was conditioning, conditioning, conditioning. So I brought in my two of my high school wrestling coaches to kind of run days of training that I was running myself. That elevated my game. I became hungry again, man. I became hungry in the sense of I went out finding people that could beat me. And I took the time out of each day to make sure that I had more than enough partners that could really push me, going to get the former college wrestlers and the current college wrestlers to come in and train me, going through 2 to 3 partners a day, start taking all of my rounds, you know, a fresh guy every minute and a half, every minute. You name it, I made that change. I went and did some boxing with high-level boxers. My main sparring partner, one of my main boxing partners this round was my Lamb, who's fighting on Showtime. In February, the co-main event, he's 12-0 as a pro. I think he has like 7 or 8 knockouts. He's fighting a guy that's 20-0 with, or 20-1 or something like that. Also with a shit ton of knockouts. And I basically went and found guys that could put pressure on me, and then I figured out how to stand my fucking ground against those guys. So there's no more me just having to depend on wrestling. I went out to Vegas. I started my camp in Vegas, and I went to go train with Walter DeHaza, Neil Melanson, and AJ Matthews. I really switched things up to make sure that I was losing a lot in training. And I don't usually lose in training, and I don't usually lose in competition. But that's one thing that's a change that I made after that Sanchez fight, is to make sure that I'm constantly losing, and I'm constantly battling, and I'm constantly going through adversity, and I'm constantly making adjustments. And so, man, I learned a shit ton about that fight. I learned a shit ton about myself. I picked up a lot of technique that I wasn't too focused on. I opened up my variety of strikes and ways to hurt people. I got a better understanding of distance and momentum and how to change momentum and time. That fight did me a lot of well. It did me a lot of good, man. So I made a lot of changes, and this guy's gonna have to pay the price. He thinks he knows, but he has no fucking idea of what's coming his way.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you took an analytical approach to the whole thing, much like what you do with a lot of coding from what you've mentioned in the past, just this sense of like always wanting to like level up and get a more comprehensive understanding of like whatever it is you're engaging in.
Absolutely. The only way to go, right?
Yeah, and I was kind of wanting to redirect some attention back to this fight too, because I'd noticed you put up a tweet a little while ago where it seemed like you maybe took some issue with certain, statements your opponent had made, talking about like beating you and cashing in and stuff like that, and you were talking about how you should bring that same energy to Hawaii. Has that given you? I mean, obviously you're motivated to come back and have an emphatic win to close out the year, but has that like compounded your motivation or informed your approach to the fight at all?
No. You know what? It at times it has. At times, when I didn't want to go to training, I just need to him saying that, I've been working for this my whole life, and it's time for me to cash in. I ain't no fucking lottery ticket. I'm the last guy you want to try to cash in on. So, I guess it has, in a way, and he's going to eat those words, and I'm going to make sure he eats those words. At the end of the day, I've been training my entire life, and there's levels to everything. There's levels to wrestling. There's levels to fighting. There's levels to training. There's levels to dedication. And this guy is on my level, so for him to even talk or think that he's on my level, he's lost his damn mind. And so, it only takes one fool. You shut down one fool, and the rest of the fools start running their mouths.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that end of things, but I was also noticing in my, studies and researching for this that you're the newest member of Team Gladiator. So what's it been like to be a Team Gladiator athlete and to, be a part of that team? So it seems like the Gladiator custom mouth guards are really cool.
Yeah, so, so Team Gladiator, they've made my mouth guard since I was wrestling in college. They asked me to join their team. We still haven't worked out those details yet or anything like that. So right now it's just kind of a fight-to-fight sponsor thing. But they just give me free mouth guards, and that's the extent of that. I promote them some, and they make some cool mouth guards, and it just gives the fans something to pick and to choose. And it's one more thing that my fans can be a part of. It's something that they have control over, something that they can pick, and I like that. I like for them to be able to, decide certain things like the mouth guard that we're wearing or the walkout song that I'm coming out to. Those things are cool. Those fans like that type of stuff, and it's a way for me to just show them that, hey, I do appreciate you being a part of the journey, and it's a way to include them in the journey a little bit more. So That's that.
Yeah, for sure. Good to, include the fans in the whole process. But you mentioned something in there. Is there a particular walkout song you figured out for this fight coming up here that you can share?
I think I'm going to come out to Push It by OT Genesis.
Oh, nice. Was that like something fans had suggested, or was it a song you kind of wanted to come out to? Like, how did that come about?
As an amateur, it was the song that I got my first knockout to. And my fans suggested that song way back then. And I was looking at old videos, and I said, you know what, that's what I'm going to come out to.
That makes sense based on, the backstory you gave and stuff like that, man. That's going to be cool. I'm kind of curious, though, as we're, like I said earlier in the talk, getting towards the end of the year and getting ready to get into 2020. Do you have any express goals mapped out for 2020, like a certain amount of fights you want to get, maybe like a particular opponent, anything of that sort?
I want to get four fights in next year. And, I'm not in a position to call anybody out right now. I have goals of, I want 4 fights, 4 finishes. That's what I would like to do. 4 fights, 4 dominating finishes. And that's my goal for 2020. It's to grow as a martial arts. That's it. To grow and to win and to dominate. Not to just go in there and win a decision. It has to be complete domination. And so that's the goal for 2020. Continue to grow and dominate.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems like another goal you want to achieve by the end of 2020 is to do a stand-up show. I understand you're working on some material. How's that been coming along?
It comes along pretty. It's not half bad, man. I think that I'm a funny guy, but I guess that's going to be for people to kind of decide. But yeah, I plan on doing the show by the end of 2020. But I have a lot of coding goals that I want to accomplish before then. And I also shot my first commercial in 2019. And so I want to shoot 1 or 2 more commercials in 2020. So, there's goals set for 2020. 2020 is going to be a hell of a year. 2019 opened up a lot of doors. 2020, I'm on a grind through them and kind of crush those doors.
Yeah, you mentioned some coding goals you want to achieve. What specific coding related goals do you have?
I'm going to release 2 to 3 apps next year. And that's my goal, is to release 2 to 3 apps. Not sure what kind of apps I'm going to release yet. But I have a notebook full of app ideas. And I probably have maybe 15 apps that are halfway done, because I'm the type of person that has an idea and it's like, yes, fresh idea, let's start working on it. And then I still have the rest of my ideas finished. So, I want to have 2 or 3 of those of my apps released in 2020, by the end of 2020, and I will do that for sure.
So conceivably, from what you're telling me, you could have apps coming out steadily for the next few years, because like you were saying, you have like around 15 some odd app ideas.
Yes. I'm at the point in my career already as a 5-1 pro where if I wanted to, I could walk away from fighting and I can code full time and I can still live a life where I'm not working a 9-to-5 job. I can still live a life where I'm living on my own terms and I'm still doing something that I love. And that's an exciting place to be in life. When you really take into account, life in general. When I was 15 years old, I had my first job at 12. By the time I was 15, I was working 70-hour weeks. So, to be where I'm at and to do those 2 things that I love, and to be in a position where, hey, with these 2 things, with one or other, you'll be able to live and support yourself and continue on the path that you want to continue on. That takes a lot of pressure off a lot of things. And when you take pressure off, you start to have fun and you start to see more success. And I'm starting to realize that. So I'm stepping in, I'm stepping into this fight a different man. And I'm stepping into 2020 a different man, and that's for sure. Just from a mental standpoint, physically we're evolving as well, but mentally and emotionally, it's been growth. It's been a lot of pain since that Sanchez fight, but with that pain comes growth, and I'm already starting to see it. So, the goals are there, and the vision is clear. Even through adversity, the vision is clear. The vision doesn't fade.
Yeah, well, that seems like a bit of a recurring theme throughout your life, from what I can tell. Like, I saw you had a tweet towards the end of October where you were talking about the first time you saw someone get shot, you were 11 years old, and it was like a very obviously troubling situation for you. But you were talking about like, you came from a war zone and how you just bring the war zone every time you go out. Like, there's not an opponent or situation that's going to intimidate you in that sort of way. So I think it's great to be able to like reshape your outcomes and just like not let certain awful circumstance like that kind of get in the way. So yeah, it seems like a recurring theme throughout your life.
It is. It's like I hit adversity. I feel like the world's going to end. I feel like I've reached the new bottom, and I just keep fucking grinding. And I keep climbing, and I climb, and I crawl, and then I fucking walk, and then I run, and then I sprint, and then life gets better. And then the fucking plane crashes. And then we walk through the mountains, or we walk through the desert, or we swim through the damn ocean with the sharks. And we get back on the land, and we crawl, and then we walk, and then we run, and then we sprint, and then we fly again. It's a cycle. It's a cycle that I've been used to since I was a kid, man. And once you start to embrace the cycle, once you start to love the cycle, once you start to be able to find happiness in the cycle, oh, shit changes. And that's where I'm at, man. This is a phase where this is a victory lap. This is 2019 was a hell of a year. It was a hell of a year. And through all the ups and downs, we're back to where we need to be. We're back in the spotlight. We're back doing what we love to do. And we're having fun doing it. We're going to have fun doing it. I'm going to have fun going out there and punching Brandon in the face. I'm going to have fun entertaining the troops, man. I'm going to have fun in general, in life, just counting my blessings. Every day alive is another blessing. And every day we continue to grow, and you cannot ask for anything better than that. I just can't. The good with the bad,
No, it's a great way to be, man, and just really excited for this fight coming up here, and I appreciate all the great insights you were able to give me. But I'm curious if there's anything you'd like to sort of add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, though.
I think that I just want him to bring that same energy. Those are my parting thoughts. I know what type of person he is. I've seen. Just from the way that he handles himself, he's kind of a fucking bully. If you look at his little fights, like the way that he comes out, he pushes his opponents. He thinks he's like fucking Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz or somebody. It's levels to the Warriors game. So I just want him to bring that same energy. I want him to bring that same energy, that tough guy energy. And I'm going to show him what a real tough guy is. And I'm going to have fun doing it. I think that's the best part. I'm going to have fun doing it.
I'm loving the energy ahead of this fight. Bellator 235 is when people can check that out. That goes on December the 20th. A great featherweight tilt between Braydon Akeo and Tywan Claxton. Again, just to reiterate, really appreciate all the time and insights, man. Best of luck with the remaining part of your preparations, and have a good rest of your day, too.
You too. Thank you.